Welcome to Koi Games.
Here, at the end of things, I can still feel its power.
Majora's Mask was lost for 1,000 years after the events in the video game of the same name. It had changed hands with the masked salesman, then was given to a Canadian salesman by the name of Tyler, who sold this historical mask on an Etsy marketplace called Legend of Zanon to a young collector of exotic masks. There have been many mysterious stories about this young mask collector. However, the only truth to be known is the truth he allows people to know. His alias, Nova.
This is a review of the Legend of Zanon's Majora's Mask replica. We will be looking at several categories for the overall rating of the product and experience. We'll be looking at craftsmanship, faithfulness to the source material, materials and finishes used, functionality, and the Etsy shop itself. We will rate each category out of 10, then average this out for a final rating out of 10. Just to make it clear, I'm not a craftsman, however I'm deeply entrenched in Zelda lore. First category, craftsmanship. Overall, the mask is really well crafted. There are some minor faults in how easily blunted the spikes can be, but I guess this is also in the nature of using this wood. Speaking of the wood, it has been expertly carved and reinforced to make sure that it all stays together. In my opinion, the mask is symmetrical as possible when compared to the original Majora's Mask from the Zelda games. The ridge work makes each section of the mask really pop. The wood used to make the mask has these really nice, naturally forming crevices to make it look and feel all the more realistic. I'm glad that it has the wooden texture, rather than the smooth, plasticky 3D printed feel. The wooden aspect of this mask gives it more of a worn vibe, in with the certain realistic deep history behind it. As a result, I rate the craftsmanship of this mask a 9 out of 10.
Oh yes, Nova, I do indeed agree with your rating for the craftsmanship of this mask. Now the next category will be faithfulness. Now, I think this mask is very, very faithful to the source material of the video games. The colors are very accurate and similar to the original. The hues and saturation of these colors is also surprisingly accurate. The shapes used in the mask also never cease to amaze me. The mask is nearly perfectly in proportion and symmetrical, not only with the source material, but even between the different sides of the mask itself. My only gripe is with the marketing of this mask, in that the quality of the mask in the advertising images appear to be of a higher quality than the mask that arrived. However, this may also just be the result of a good quality camera. For faithfulness, I rate this mask a 10 out of 10.
Next category, materials and finishes. All in all, the materials used in the construction of this mask are appropriate, and the finishes have served their purpose so far. On the back and front of the mask, it has been covered with a protective layer of some kind. This is to ensure that the paint doesn't fade, and so there are no accidental marks left on it. This mask has been in my possession for a few months now. I can confidently say it has stood the test of time so far. As mentioned before, the colors and hues and levels of saturation are remarkably similar to the video game. This has launched the quality of this mask into the stratosphere. I rate the materials and finishes a 10 out of 10.
Yes, Nova, I most certainly agree with your assessment of the materials and finishes used for this mask. Now, the next category is not the last category, it's just merely the next one. Functionality. As a display piece, this mask is somewhat functional. It would look fantastic on any wall with the right harness. However, the mask itself is very, very challenging to hang up, so placing it on a shelf will have to do for now. The issue I have with this is that this puts a large amount of strain on the lower spikes to hold the weight of the whole mask. As a wearable piece, it is possible to attach a strap. However, the mask itself is quite heavy, so I would advise against this. So, considering that this is primarily a display piece, and yet it is relatively difficult to actually display, I rate the functionality of this replica let's say 7 out of 10.
And now for the final category, the Legend of Zanon shop itself. The shop sells a wide variety of Zelda products. The seller goes to great lengths to ensure buyers receive quality products. However, this is frequently at the detriment of delivery times. When I placed an order for this, the mask took a whopping 2 years before it was shipped to my address.
What?
This wait time, although necessary for such a fine piece of work, is a very long time regardless of your delivery timeframe expectations. I consistently messaged Tyler over the course of 2 years, and he was able to keep me frequently informed as to the progress on my purchase. In fairness, Tyler did offer refund consistently over that 2-year time frame. As good as this was, I would like to reiterate that waiting 2 years for a display mask is pretty ridiculous. Just to recap, Tyler's communication was fantastic with consistent progress reports, but it just took so bloody long for the mask to get here. As a result, I rate this shop 4.5 out of 10. Overall, the replica of the Majora's Mask from the Legend of Zanon shop is an impressive and striking piece of craftsmanship. The woodwork is detailed and well constructed with a natural sense of realism and history. Its faithfulness to the source material is near perfect, especially considering everything from the vibrant colors to the accurate proportion, making it a must-have for a dedicated Zelda fan. The materials and finishes are of high quality and have proven durable over time. However, this mask is somewhat difficult to display properly without putting strain on the structure, and its weight makes it impractical to wear. The most significant downside was an exceptionally long delivery time of 2 years. Despite excellent communication and transparency from the seller, this is still difficult to overlook. That said, the seller has since made improvements to the listing to reflect this. After taking everything into account, craftsmanship, accuracy, materials, functionality, and shop experience, I give this mask and the overall experience a final rating of 8.1 out of 10. That brings us to the end of the review, and don't forget to game on, Koi style.
I should have heeded the ancient's warning. Nothing can withstand its power.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Goodbye.